Why hello there, and welcome back to another episode of Trader Steve's journey across Gielinor to collect as many rare items as he can get his grubby little mitts on. Trader Steve is starting his journey in the Grand Exchange chunk, but for every new rare item he can add to his collection that's worth more than 1 mil, he can unlock a new adjacent chunk, with Trader Steve's ultimate goal, obtaining a quest cape. So after quite a bit of effort, we finally have unlocked Darkmire, the most important chunk in all of Morytania. This city offers a ton of different moneymakers, some of which I've already tried, but today I want to focus in on one I've been really excited for, the hallowed sepulcher. The hallowed sepulcher offers actually a lot of different benefits, ones that will either help train my account or earn me money. Now in the last episode, I unlocked all of the different requirements for the sepulcher, so we are ready to go. Now what exactly is my goal with the hallowed sepulcher? We'll have some short-term goals, some mid-term goals, and some long-term ones of course. In the short term, I want to unlock all of the hallowed equipment, and I want to unlock the 3rd floor of the sepulcher. As for mid-term goals, I want to unlock the entire black graceful outfit because it looks cool and why not. And of course I would like to unlock the 4th floor at 82 agility. The long-term goal is 92 agility, which is going to take a long time, but that is really where most of the money is made. Now there isn't a ton of information on how much money you make per hour on the lower levels, but my rough guesstimation is I'm probably going to make around 500k per hour once I get to the 3rd floor of the sepulcher. The 4th floor will make me maybe 800k to a mil an hour, and the 5th floor up to 2 mil per hour, all while getting the best agility experience in the entire game. So to get us started, we need to buy a few pieces of equipment. Most of them are pretty cheap. We're getting a myth grapple, a holy symbol, some vampire dust, some planks, and some nails. Now I'm opting to go for the highest level plank and nail because this actually gives you pretty efficient construction experience, and the higher level planks give you more experience. For inventory, we're going to bring ourselves a strange old lockpick, which I had from Barrows, some planks, and some vampire dust, and yeah, we're pretty much ready to go. So very conveniently, we're actually 62 agility, which means we can skip right to floor 2 and start there. Now I should be able to get about 40,000 experience per hour just from the first 2 floors if I'm doing it correctly, which is pretty damn good for the level. Now to begin with here, we're going to be looting every single coffin that I can because we want to stack up these hallowed marks. They're very slow to acquire in the beginning, but as we level up and spend our marks on some of the quality of life equipment, things are going to go quicker. Now along with agility experience, I'm also going to be getting some passive experience in other skills. For example, we're going to get prayer experience whenever we go through one of these braziers, and thieving experience whenever we open a coffin. Or if we find some of the bridges, we're going to get construction experience. So we should get a nice amount of passive experience as well, which is kind of another reason that I wanted to do this. For example, here is a bridge, 700 construction experience for that. Kind of expensive though with those rune nails. I might consider downgrading maybe to teak planks and adamant nails. Ugh, they're expensive. So we're balling out, but we're not balling out that hard. We're gonna downgrade our planks a bit. It was just too expensive. So we're just about to hit 100 hallowed marks, which is nice because we'll be able to afford a piece of the hallowed equipment. These are items that will help you in the sepulcher. For example, you can get the hallowed grapple, which will stop you from falling on the grapple obstacles. There's the hallowed hammer, which will make it so you never bend nails anymore, stuff like that. So we can finally afford one of those, and I've decided to go for the hallowed grapple because I fall down that trap so much that I actually physically stopped doing it. So I think this is probably the best item to buy for now. Now conventionally, I think people would go for the hallowed ring first because it stops you taking damage, and if you do get hit by an obstacle, it will teleport you back quicker, but because I'm only on the first 2 floors anyway, I don't think that really makes that much sense. Alright, so there we go, there's another 100-ish hallowed tokens. Took a couple of hours to get that. It starts off really slow, but as you unlock more floors, get quicker. You get a lot of hallowed tokens per hour, but for now, like 30 or 40, I don't know, it's quite low. Now the next item I decided to buy is going to be the hallowed symbol. This will simply reduce the amount of vampire dust I need from 2 to 1, so it halves the cost. Might as well save myself a little bit of money. Plus it acts as a Saradomin item, which is kind of useful for this as well as other pieces of content as well. Alright, so next up on the docket I think is going to be the hallowed hammer. The hallowed hammer will stop me from failing When I make the bridges, sometimes I'll waste a bunch of adamant nails, but no longer with this new shiny hammer. Drop this piece of crap one on the ground. So we've been at it for another couple of hours, and I was able to save up 250 hallowed marks, which is a pretty particular number. With it, we're now able to afford the hallowed ring. While I'm not really failing many of the obstacles now, in the future, this will be an incredibly helpful item, so I think it's about time we pick it up. And that's the second to last item we need to buy. The final one is the hallowed focus. I didn't prioritize that one at all because there are no portals to go through in the first 2 floors anyway, so there's literally no point yet. Okay, I didn't even know this, but it looks like we got our first strange old lockpick as loot. This is by far the most valuable item I can get before we get to the final floor, where we can get, of course, a Ring of Endurance. Each strange old lockpick is worth about 200k each, and they're not super likely from the first couple floors, but eventually they'll be very common and will make up a fair bulk of our profits. Oh, perfect timing. Okay, there we go. There is 70 agility on top of us having exactly 100 hallowed marks, which is of course enough to buy another and the final hallowed item. There we go, guys. That is the final item, the hallowed focus. By far the coolest looking item in my opinion. Look at that thing. This will allow me to go through the portal traps 100% of the time, but we won't be seeing that for a couple more levels anyway. Now the important thing here is we have all the equipment now. So what exactly are we going to spend our marks on now? Well, I thought it would be cool to go for the Black Graceful set. I want to see what loot we get from getting the entire set, how many levels we're going to get, and just how long it takes. We need to save up, I think, 1800 hallowed marks to get the full Graceful recolor, which is going to take quite a while. But that's okay, we're going to make a lot of money along the way. Okay, so I think this is the last coffin we need to steal from. That will get us 300 hallowed marks. Finally, that took quite a while. I remember when this minigame first came out, I thought it was only 300 for the entire recolor, which, you know, would have been pretty quick, but I was very disappointed when I realized it only recolored a single piece of Graceful. Okay, so there we go. We can go ahead and buy our first dark dye. The real question though is, what piece do I use it on? Well, it's gotta be the top, the most surface area, of course. Oh, maybe the cape is bigger. Well, it's too late now. Okay, so this is actually a really exciting lap. After quite a few hours of doing just floors 1 and 2, we're finally there. We've reached 72 agility, which means we can now access the 3rd floor of the sepulcher as well. Now this is where loot really starts to get good. Each floor, of course, gives more loot per chest, but another factor is the 3rd floor has 2 lootable coffins on it, where floors 1 and 2 only have a single one. So the amount of GP per hour that we're making just went up, maybe even double, I don't know. It's a pretty big increase, plus our experience rate is going up as well. So I didn't sell any of my loot off at all yet, and I decided to save it all up until I finally reached 72 agility. So from the 10 agility levels, we ended up with 4.7 mil in loot. 3 strange old lockpicks, 400k in cash, and a variety of other reasonably valuable items. So that's the loot you could expect. So we're going to sell off all the loot right now, and after claiming it, we're at 4.4 mil, plus we have cash in the bank, which means we're pretty much at a 7 mil cash stack right now. Now at this point, this location is incredibly familiar. I've been stuck in this underground mausoleum sepulcher thing for months now, and I haven't been getting very much sun. With summer coming up though, it's time to leave my cave and get ready for some sun. And the perfect way to get your body ready for the summer is with the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0, the sponsor of today's video. The Performance Package comes with everything you need to increase your confidence and grooming game this summer. First up, you're of course going to get the Lawnmower 4.0. This cordless and waterproof razor is amazing for cutting your more PG areas, but it really excels at those more R-rated areas. This razor expertly avoids nicks and cuts and features a ceramic blade, so no more worrying about reliving old trauma. Inside, you're also going to find the Crop Preserver deodorant and the Crop Reviver ball toner. These are amazing for summer activities because if you're wearing a bathing suit all day, you're gonna get some chafing and you don't want that. The performance package really is stacked. It has so many different things in it. It comes with a Weed Whacker 2.0, my favorite nose hair trimmer, Manscaped boxers, super comfy, and even a travel bag. So I definitely recommend picking yourself up a performance package, and now is actually a great time to do it. Manscaped is offering 20% off and free shipping to my channel viewers. All you have to do is enter the code 20flipping at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code 20flipping at manscaped.com. And thanks again to Manscaped for sponsoring. So thanks to Darkmire, we're starting to really stack up a fair bit of money. And so far, I haven't actually talked about where we're going to be going next. Now, although we have unlocked probably my major goal within Morytania, there are a number of other important unlocks in the region that I would like to get first before we move on to a completely new region. For example, although we have Darkmire, we have the endgame quest complete, I still haven't unlocked stuff like the Ava's Accumulator, something we're 100% are going to need for bossing later on, so that's on the list. Another one is the Fairy Ring Network. And finally, I also really want to unlock the Morytania herb patch. Herb runs is something that I have definitely been slacking on, but maybe the addition of a third patch will make it a bit more time efficient and even more money per hour. Okay, so there is 75 agility, actually one of our highest level skills now, and the levels are flying by. Now, when I first made this account, I really didn't expect agility and rune crafting to be my highest level skills and premier moneymakers, but here we are. There is 5 out of the 6 recolors acquired. We now have the Dark Graceful Cape. There we go, that is it. We are finally done with the full Dark Graceful recolor. It is of course just a cosmetic item, but it was kind of a good way to frame our hallowed sepulcher grind. And not only do we get the recolor, which is, looks cool, we also got a ton of money and a ton of agility levels. There we go, final piece acquired, full Dark Graceful, looks pretty damn cool. I think it is definitely my favorite now. We got all the hallowed items, so just like that, we've already knocked out the majority of my mid-game goals here. Alright, so now we have our loot organized, looks good for presentation. This is a loot from the entire Dark Graceful set grind, which took, I think, between 15 and 20 hours. So we're looking like we're making about 500k per hour with the 3rd floor, which is actually pretty good. I wasn't really sure what to expect because most people aren't, tracking the first couple floors, but we'll sell this off and just see how much money we ended up with. Okay, so we ended up with 6 mil in loot, and after selling it off, we have, for the first time, a green cash stack, 12.1 mil. There's so many different items I could spend this money on. I could get my first Zenite piece, I could buy a couple useful PVM items. There's so much I can do with this. Too many options, actually, to be honest. So the final grind actually brought us to 76 agility, so 14 agility levels. Not to mention we also got to 69 thieving, so 3 thieving levels. We also got, I think, 3 construction levels and a handful of prayer levels as well. Okay, so what exactly do I do with my hallowed marks now? Well, there's 2 options. I can either save up 3,000 to get the Dark Acorn and hope I get the agility pet at some point, or I just buy these hallowed sacks, which is probably what I'm gonna do. If I do get the agility pet at some point, I will come back here and get the Dark Acorn. It's just another great reason to do more hallowed sepulcher, which I enjoy. So for now, we're gonna buy the hallowed sacks, which come out to, I think, around about 80k worth of gold. So for every 100 marks I get, we're gonna get another 80k, which should increase our GP per hour to about maybe 600 or 700k per hour from the 3rd floor, which is really, really good. Okay, so this cash has been stacking up and burning a hole in my pocket for weeks now, and it's finally time to start spending some of it. Now, the first major unlock I want to get done with, animal magnetism. I've been thrift shopping my ranged ammunition for months now, and I'm pretty tired of it, and I definitely don't want to pick items up off the ground. That's just lame. So we're going to do animal magnetism. I think we're going to need to unlock a couple chunks for it. Okay, so luckily I unlocked the Drainer Manor last episode, and there's a number of quests that come here, so it was definitely a useful chunk to get unlocked. So there we go, Ernest the Chicken is done. That was pretty easy. No new chunks required for that one. And with that done, we can simply start animal magnetism. We got one problem right off the bat. The quest start location is way over here in the northeastern corner of Morytania, which means we gotta figure out the best way to get here. Okay, so now when it comes to unlocking a new area, one thing I always got to keep in mind is we're not accidentally going over a chunk that is completely dead, that serves no purpose in a quest or doesn't unlock any other major piece of content. Now in this area, there's one chunk that I am uncertain about, and that is this one, 14,390. It has a fairy ring in it, but I'm not sure if it's actually used in any quest. It could be, but to be safe, I'm not going to be taking that way to get to the quest start location. Now, one thing I discovered when I was unlocking Darkmire is there's actually a rowboat from the southern part of Sleep that will bring you up to the Ectofunctus chunk. I thought this could actually be useful, and I think it's going to be. Because this is simply a boat, a natural form of transportation, we're going to actually use it to get to the Ectofunctus, which I think is honestly a much more useful and logical chunk to get unlocked. So I've been stacking up money now for a long time, and it's finally time to start spending a bit of it. Now because we're going to get the accumulator pretty soon, why not buy probably one of the best range weapons or cheaper range weapons in the entire game? The Toxic Blowpipe, only going for 2.5 mil right now. Quite a cheap item. A staple one at that. We can't wear it yet, our range level is too low, but we're going to have it in the bank for when we need it. So from Versenhaza, we take the boat all the way up to the northeastern corner to our newly unlocked chunk, the Ectofunctus chunk. This is actually a pretty major chunk in quite a few quests, but if we look at the actual Ectofunctus area, it's sliced in half, which is really annoying. We can't actually complete animal magnetism with just this chunk. The trapdoor is literally a micrometer away. God damn it. And same thing with the staircase that goes up to the bone grinder. This is effectively a unusable chunk right now, but that's okay. So I really heavily considered buying the Dagonoth rings like the Archer ring or the Berserker ring, but there's just unfortunately no easy way for me to imbue them yet. So for now, we're gonna buy another item, the Eternal Boots. Once again, can't quite wear them yet. We need a few more defense levels, I think, but a pretty cheap best in slot upgrade. I don't know, we'll take it. But way more importantly, another item added to the collection. Okay, so with this, we've unlocked the Undead Farm, which is the quest location, of course, but most importantly, and the thing I'm most excited about, we get another herb patch, finally. That brings our total up to 3. Not sure why I'm even this excited. I haven't done a herb run in like 2 weeks, but I swear I will now. Shiny new patch, gotta try it out. The only issue right now is there's no convenient way for me to get here, so maybe I should try to get the Ecto file. Otherwise, we're gonna have to walk from Versenhaza, get the boat every time. That sounds annoying, but look at that, another farm patch. Alright, we definitely forgot about this section. We got to go over to visit the old crone. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it. We definitely have to buy that chunk. Not much else is useful there though. We got the mausoleum, but I don't think there's any useful content here, just a quest location. Okay, so we might as well finish off the Zulrah item set here. We're gonna buy the Serpentine Helm. That means we have all of these Zulrah drops now, except for the Onyx, I guess. Quite a good helmet, but again, won't be useful quite yet. But that is another 2.5 mil item added to the collection, and if you look at our total, we are so close to a 100 mil tab. Okay, it's done. The old crone chunk, I don't even know what to call it, is unlocked. I forgot about this too. We need Ecto tokens, and like I highlighted earlier, Ectofunctus is currently cut in half, which means it's unusable, which means to get Ecto tokens, we need to get the other chunk, which means we gotta spend more money again. This is more costly than I thought it was gonna be, to be honest. Okay, so it looks like I've already bought this item, but this is the Mystic Smokestaff variant. A completely different item, even though it looks entirely the same. But it was just another cheaper item on the list. Didn't quite budget for this one, so we had to really scrape the bottom. So this was primarily done to complete animal magnetism, but the chunk is primarily Port Phasmatis, which means we now have access to that city, and there's a couple pretty useful things in here. A few interesting pieces of content, such as the brewing mechanic, which is actually a decent moneymaker I might try out at some point. We have a number of quest locations here, a forge, and a couple other kind of miscellaneous things. So all that just to get 20 measly ecto tokens. So with all that, animal magnetism is done. A little more costly than I anticipated, but that's okay. We finally have the Ava's accumulator, which means we can actually start training our ranged, which is good because it's, I think, our lowest combat stat right now, and we're gonna need it for bossing. So we are really closing in on the end of the Mauritania journey. We have our herb patch, we have our accumulator, we've unlocked Darkmire. What else is there really left? Well, one major thing, and that's the fairy ring network. If you look at our map now, we have actually unlocked a good number of chunks spread out across quite a bit of the map. And fairy rings are going to be a great way for me to travel between the existing chunks I already have unlocked. Keeping in mind that using these to unlock brand new ones is against the rules, since they have to be an adjacent chunk or by using one of the few exceptions, like boats and canoes and stuff like that. So although the fairy ring network is still going to be kind of restricted, I think it's still going to be nice to have. So we're going to start Fairy Tales Part 1. So right off the bat, we have kind of an interesting dilemma. I'm not 100% sure if we need another chunk for the very first part. Now to complete this quest, we have to talk to 5 gardeners located around Gillinor, and I do have some of them unlocked, but we'll see if we have enough. So first up here, we have a farmer in Port Sarim. That one was already unlocked, luckily. And we also have the Falador farm patch unlocked, so that's 2 out of 5 already. I just remembered we have one in Varrock as well. Okay, so luckily for me, I think we just had enough of these farm patches unlocked. The final one and the only last one I think I could think of is the Remington hop patch. There's a Garden Alliance member there, and it will work for the quest, luckily. So for the first part, no new chunk unlocked, which is kind of nice. Okay, I did know this part was coming. We need to unlock the Dark Mage, which is near Falador. Now, lucky for me, it is already adjacent to a chunk I have unlocked. Pretty easy, we just need to buy one new item for that. Okay, so we're gonna go for another prayer item. The Holy Sandals could be kind of helpful, and I was able to buy them for 2.6 mil. I think I can wear them now, which is nice. Now, one thing I do like about this chunk is we finally are closer to Falador. Beyond that, there isn't too much more to love about this chunk. There is a mine, sure, and a couple trees, but unfortunately it's a pretty useless chunk other than the quest location. Okay, so this is going to be a little interesting. We have to talk to another wizard, which from first glance looks like it's in another chunk, but from what I remember, this guy wanders a lot, and it's already a bit in the southwestern corner. So it's possible we might be able to snipe him outside of this chunk, which I think would definitely be worth my time. Oh my god, there he is right there. He's pretty close, actually. We have to wait until Mortifier hopefully wanders far enough. Okay, so the wizards walk out, so it's definitely possible. Holy, that took a long time. We finally got him though. That was like a 10-minute wait. So that was quite a wait, but if we somehow don't need to unlock that chunk, that's just an entire chunk saved. I'm not sure if there's more quests that require it, but we're getting pretty close to being in the clear, I think. Okay, what do we need here? We need an uncut ruby, Joger bones, and a kingworm. I was a little nervous about this. I think the kingworm is tradable as well. I think we're just totally fine. There were a few items on this list that would have ruined my day, but I think we're okay. Okay, so there we go. There are the magic secateurs. That was another item I definitely wanted to get from Mauritania. This will increase my herb yield for all the farm runs that I'm definitely going to be doing. Definitely going to be doing more farm runs, right? Okay, we're a little over leveled for Tangleroot, but he is done. There we go, an iconic quest done with Fairy Tales Part 1. And the entire quest only required one new area, one new chunk. So I think that was definitely a good investment. We got off pretty easy there. And now we simply need to start Fairy Tales Part 2 and we'll have the Fairy Ring Network, which is the main point of this quest. Okay, for some reason you still have to wait 10 in-game minutes for that quest to start. Super dumb. But while we're waiting, let's go ahead and plant our new herb patch. Exciting stuff. Every farm run now went from giving me about 40 or 45k in profit to 65, 70k now. I'm still planting corm seeds, but I think Renars and Sapdragons are more profitable now. But if we just do, 2 or 3 farm runs a day, that's 200, 300k in profit just completely passively. Ah, that's so nice. We can now transport around to so many different places. Due to the chunks limiting the quests we can do early on, this is really the first big quality of life quest I've been able to do for transportation methods. I mean, we don't have the spirit tree, we don't have the gnome glider, we're pretty much stuck running until now. Oh my god, so I thought I would go ahead and unlock the ectophile by completing Ghosts Ahoy because, it's just gonna be really nice for my farm runs. We started to go make the nettle and I forgot I only have 4 cooking, which is a little embarrassing. We're gonna have to level that up a little bit just to start the quest. Oh my god, look at this peasant here in his full black graceful cooking trout just to get level 20, my god. So that took a minute, but we finally have collected all of the items for Ghost Ahoy. I don't think we need any more chunks for this quest. We should have all the areas unlocked as far as I can remember, although I can't remember super well to be honest. Let's see. Ah, god damn it, I forgot. The location with my favorite music track of all time, Dragontooth Island. Well, there's not much to be done about that. We simply do have to unlock that to do Ghost Ahoy, so it looks like we do actually need 1 chunk more. That's alright, we did have just enough money to buy a cheaper item, the Dragonstone Full Helm. Pretty soon we're not going to have any of these cheaper options left, so I'm kind of taking it for granted right now, but there is the Dragonstone Full Helm. Looks absolutely ridiculous, but that's okay, that's going in the bank too. Alright, Dragontooth Island has evergreen trees on it, and I think it could be a clue step location, so it does have that going for it. Beyond that though, well, we just have to dig once and we're out of here. There we go, that is Ghost Ahoy done with, also bringing us to 59 prayer. The main reason I did this quest, the ectophile will bring me really close to the Moritania farm patch, and it's just another quest to get done anyway. So with that final quest complete, we're done with Moritania. I mean, there are still a couple quests left, but for every major piece of content I want out of the region, we have it unlocked. We've completed it in essence. Now, eventually I have to come back here and finish off the rest of the quests, but I don't think it makes sense to do a bunch of, in my opinion, useless quests right now, when the chunks are going to get so much more expensive soon anyway. We might as well move on to a new area. Now that's gonna have to wait until the next episode, but where do you guys think I should go next? My main goal now is to unlock a high profit combat moneymaker, something that I can grind out and level up my combats at the same time. Thoughts? Options? Leave a comment down below if you can think of a good option that would not require like a million chunks to unlock. Thanks for watching as always guys, and I will see you in the next episode. Now, before I go here, I want to give a giant thank you to all of my members over on YouTube. Thank you so much to Alejandra, Mitch Reinders, The Hybrid, and Kush Patel for all being subscribed at the Dragon tier. You guys are awesome. I do really appreciate it. Also, thank you to Kapersky, YoYoSub89, and NDM0001 for being subscribed at the Runite tier. Thanks to everyone again, and I'll see you next time.